Good evening everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Districts. And my name's Susanna and I live with trains, and today is not a particularly exciting video. It's called Easy Come Easy Go, and before we start, as usual, I just wanted to get hold of a few comments that were brought up. Now I forgot to mention one a little while ago. Somebody had asked me, I can't remember who it was, somebody left me a comment about what the radius of the curves are on the back return loop and what curves do I use. So it was, I think they're second and third. And as you notice, if you watched the cab ride video that was attached to the Class 50 special, you will have noticed that I think I used the inside loop for that one. So that will show you that the Class 50, being quite a big hefty Coco locomotive, does get around there pretty easily. One of the other comments I wanted to address was from Steve Smith, who turned around and said that he was going to go to the GBRF depot open day, which I really wanted to go to. Unfortunately, when I found out, all the kind of select tickets for the interior tour were already sold out. So I would have loved to have done that, but that's how it goes sometimes. And then after, so I'm just looking at some of the video comments on my screen there, and also Good for Model Railway had also turned around and put a lovely comment about scratch building. And like I said in the last video, you know, you just have to think about it and take these things into consideration to work out what you want to get the best out of it. And the nice thing about scratch building is that you can get it exactly to your specifications, so you're not having to work around whatever you've been given via Metcalfe or via Batman or Hornby, whoever you buy from. So you can just build your scratch building according to what space you have and your limitations and to your own personal requirements. So I'd like to thank everybody who commented on that, and your next one, which will be the foam board one, that will be probably next week. That one's pretty much done in terms of the video, but it'll be in the same sort of state as the first one, if you see what I mean. And then eventually we'll end up coming to a point where I'm going to do probably one of them on video, cladding it, and then the other one I'll just do off camera, because there's no point in me showing it to you twice, although I have done a video on the cladding procedure before. So that will be probably your next video after this, and then there'll probably be a layout video after that layout update. Now, something I need to tell you about is, and it kind of links into this video actually. Some of you, I did mention to a few of you a few weeks ago about, well, I did mention a few weeks ago that I was going to do the repair on my Class 66 National Health one. Now, I'm pleased to say that I've fixed it, but there won't be a video on it because I don't actually have that locomotive anymore. I did fix it, but I ended up getting rid of it, and that will be apparent shortly, because we're now going to talk about today's video. And today's video is called Easy Come Easy Go. And the reason why it's called Easy Come Easy Go is that I've had a few people ask me, and I have touched on it before, about buying and selling, basically, second-hand locomotives, or buying and all the rest of it, and selling. Because I had a comment a little while ago from somebody, I can't remember who it was again, and my apologies for not really remembering, I should remember, but somebody had asked me about if I had an eBay page and whether they could buy my stuff if I wanted to sell it, just for us to sort of get me to sort of give out my details on eBay or Facebook or wherever, and then therefore you can look at what I have to offer, and then if you wanted to, you can contact me and all that kind of stuff. And so that's why that's kind of prompted this video, because what I really wanted to say is that I don't actually do any of that. I used to do it, and I won't do it anymore. I haven't sold anything. I do have an eBay account, but I seldom sell anything on there. And it's mainly, my eBay account is mainly for buying rather than selling. I don't sell anything on eBay at all anymore. I used to a few years back, but to be honest with you, I don't, no disrespect to anybody, but I don't want to sell my stuff onto anybody on YouTube. It's a risk that I don't feel is worth taking, in my view. And I know people do. I know people have done. I know people are doing it. But for me, I just do not sell anything to anybody on YouTube unless I specifically know them. And when I mean specifically know them, I mean like I've met them, or or they're good friends of mine, or something like that. People that I can trust. And that's no disrespect to anyone else and all my fellow YouTubers, and any of my subscribers. It's a safety issue, from my perspective. I've heard of horror stories of people on YouTube who have sold this stuff in good faith to other people on YouTube, and then it gets a bit nasty if one person or one party doesn't agree with something that the other party has said or done or sent, and then it gets all very bitter and twisted. And I don't really want to go down that road. And for me, this is my hobby. This is a hobby I want to enjoy, and I don't need somebody giving me a load of jip and a load of grief about selling something to them, and then they kind of slag me off on YouTube or whatever, or they turn around and say, "Oh no, this isn't what I expected," or "I wouldn't deal with her," and all that kind of stuff. I don't do any of that, and it's the same reason why I don't sell anything on eBay either, because I've had stuff that I've sold on eBay that I've sold in perfectly good faith. I've given the best of my description to people about the item. I've answered all the questions that were ever given to me about these items, and I've sent stuff, and yeah, some of it went fine and it wasn't a problem. But I've had my fingers burnt enough times from people either scamming or trying it on that it's just not worth the risk. And from an eBay point of view, if you go through the process quite quickly, you're taking a photograph, you're having to list it, you're then having to wait a week or whatever and hope you get the money that you've asked for. Sometimes you might not, so you might have wanted something for £100. It's ended up selling for a fraction of the price. And then on top of that, you've got to pay eBay fees, seller fees, and then, PayPal fees. And you've got to pay for the postage out of that amount. So how much are you really making? And then after, you're hoping that within a couple of weeks that someone isn't going to turn up and put on a comment, send you a message saying, "Oh, I've received this or I've received that, and it's not what I thought it was. I didn't really like it. I want to return it." And it's just a lot of hassle that I can do without. So I just don't do it. So please don't take offence for anyone to take offence for me not selling anything on eBay. What I tend to do is I tend to take my stuff to, I've got a few options. One of them's local and the other one isn't so local, but it's still within the area. I could take my stuff to either AC Models in Eastleigh if I wanted to. But I tend to go to Terry at Hampshire Models in Basingstoke, because he's literally round the corner from my depot, and he takes second-hand stuff. And unfortunately, Paul doesn't. So, and I've said this to him before, that I would actually take my stuff to him if he actually did second-hand stuff, but he doesn't, and that's just the way it is, and that's fine. But I like taking my stuff to Terry mainly because essentially he will look at what I've got to offer him, and then he will make a decision as to what he wants to pay for it, whether it be cash or whether it be exchange or whatever. And obviously you get slightly more for exchange than you do for cash, but that's just the way it is. So if you are selling secondhand, just bear that in mind. You do tend to get more secondhand than if you trade in, than rather than if you want cash for it. And then he'll make a decision, and then he'll let me know how much he's prepared to offer. And then it's up to me then to turn around and say, "No, I'm sorry, that's not good enough." I've walk away, which I have done in the past. Or you can turn around and say, "Yeah, that's great, that's fine." And then he'll just say to you, "Well, what do you want to do, trade, or do you want cash, or whatever?" And then you can do it like that. So, and then obviously when I sell stuff to him, he's got the goods in front of his face. He's having a good look at it. He's having a good prod. He's having a good look. He's asking questions before he makes any decisions. And then I know that when I give him the goods, that's pretty much the end of it for me. I mean, I get my money, or I get my trading, or whatever it is, and he gets the goods that I'm selling him, and he has to deal with it, and I haven't got the hassle of listing it on eBay, having to deal with people on eBay or wherever, or maybe YouTubers who turn around and, I don't want any of that disgruntled nonsense. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Why do I do it? I do it for a number of reasons. Sometimes it's necessity. Sometimes it's because I'm not running it. Sometimes it's just because I just think I've got far too much stuff. And sometimes it's just for political reasons. And I say political reasons because political reasons, I guess, because sometimes liveries don't sit well with me. And it's the reason why I got rid of the Thank You NHS 66 ultimately. With that one, when I bought that Thank You NHS 66 and it was a Batman pack, I believed in the cause. But then after all the scandals and stuff like that was associated with it, that's well known on TV and stuff like that, and with the families and stuff, I didn't really want to know. It didn't sit well with me because I didn't agree that I'd spent my money for something that may or may have not gone to the right people or gone to the right cause. So every time I looked at that 66, it bugged me. And the fact that I'd been having trouble with it also was a factor, but ultimately, like I said, I did actually get it running well before I actually sold it on. So ultimately, that's why I got rid of that. The Hornby Class 50 was another one that I sold because of, you could say, political reasons in some ways, because that was just, I didn't believe in Hornby's philosophy in terms of the way that I sold the GBR 50 because the blue wasn't right. And again, it was something that was just bugging me. Ultimately, that's what led to me selling that on. Because I looked at that 50 and that blue was just absolutely, there was nothing wrong with the logo. If it was the right blue, I would have kept it. But it was just that blue just was bugging me. And I was thinking I could live with it because it's a 50. But I just couldn't. So in the end, I got rid of the 50. I had a bad experience on eBay with a locomotive. Where I'd sold a Hornby Class 60 in petroleum livery years and years and years ago. This is back in Behringer days. And I decided to sell it because I didn't think I wasn't really running it, and it wasn't really what I thought it was going to be. And so I sold it, and it basically, the seller had essentially dropped it and claimed that it derived damaged. And when I asked for photographic proof, there was no photographic proof. And PayPal, I disputed it with PayPal, but PayPal sided with them and basically said, you either accept the damaged loco or he would get to keep the loco and you pay out for it, for his refund. So I ended up getting it back. And like I said, I suspect it had been dropped because the bogey was hanging it off, and I managed to repair it. I managed to get it going in the end, and it was fine. Luckily, the body wasn't actually damaged, but it was. I had it on the layout for a little while, but again, every time I looked at it, it didn't sit well with me. So in the end, again, I resold it. So there's a number of reasons why I sell it, and like I said, ultimately, recently, I've been selling stuff because I've just got far too much of it, and I don't like having dead money sitting here. So, there are some locos that come and go, which hence the title Easy Come, Easy Go. And then there are some locos that I've had since early days, and they're still here with me. So, and as the layout is kind of built, I'm trying to sort of refine what I'm using, what I want, the reasons why I want it, and stuff like that, to really kind of hone it in. But no doubt there will be some more locomotives that will be coming into joining the fleet, and not only joining the fleet, but they'll be leaving the fleet as well, because that's just the way it is sometimes. And so please don't take offence or anything like that. If I, it's the same with people sending me friend requests on Facebook. I don't, like I said, don't take this personally or be offended or anything. But the people I like to have on my Facebook friends are generally the people I actually know, people I've actually met, people who are actually my friends and stuff like that. Whereas, you can have like 3,000 friends on Facebook or 6,000 or whatever it is, but how many do you really know? And so that's why I kind of like to keep my friends on my Facebook, people that I know. But if you do send me a message request on Facebook, I will see it, and if I feel it's appropriate, I would reply to it. But anyway, that's just kind of getting off topic slightly. But like I said, I hope this answers your questions. Like I said, I won't give out my details because, like I said, even if I did, on my eBay account, there's nothing there that I'm selling in any case. So you wouldn't be seeing anything. And like I said, I don't sell anything on Facebook because that's another kind of like sketchy kind of method of selling stuff on. Because like I said, when you're selling stuff to people you don't really know what the outcome's going to be. And sometimes it's great and other times it isn't. So that's why I say just beware. And also the other thing I wanted to say to you is if you do sell stuff to a local model shop or whatever secondhand, which is kind of the way that I would recommend it, because I've had experiences with selling stuff to E-Sleep Models and to Ron's Trains in Southampton, as well as really to Terry. And like I said, at least with all of those experiences, you're both seeing each other face to face, and whatever the final outcome is, that's the final outcome. So whether you like what they've offered you or don't, at least you know where you stand, and you're not waiting around in limbo hoping that somebody isn't going to mess you around. And the other thing is, what you have to bear in mind is that, well, you have to be realistic when you're selling your stuff. I've seen this so many times on YouTube, and not only just in the model railway world, but in other things where people will turn around and say stuff like, I'll give you an example. I wear wigs, I love my wigs. I've got loads of them. And sometimes people will sort of say stuff like, they might sell a wig and say, I've only worn it once. And then they still expect to get the same amount of money as they paid for it. Or even clothes. Some people say, oh, I've worn this dress once, or I've worn this item once, so therefore it's virtually brand new. And then they want this. It doesn't work like that. It's like once something is used, it's used. You don't take a brand new car out of the showroom and drive it 50 or 60 miles and then take it back and say, oh, I didn't like it, and expect to get it doesn't necessarily always work like that. I think things may have changed slightly, but some places you do get like 7 days or something grace or whatever. But it's the point I'm trying to make is when something is used, it's used. And so don't go in with these expectations of like thinking that, you're going to take your stuff back and you're virtually going to get the same money that you've actually paid for it. It doesn't really work like that. And the other thing is to bear in mind is kind of like, I'm just trying to think what it was that I was going to say. The other thing to bear in mind is that you're paying, when you're selling stuff on eBay, you're paying PayPal fees, eBay fees, postage costs. So the money so bear that in mind. So when you take stuff to a model shop, you're not paying for that. You're not having to pay for postage. You're not having to pay for, although you are taking your stuff to them, but you don't have to pay for postage. You don't have to pay for eBay fees and eBay fees and PayPal fees and all the rest of it. So the money that you kind of lose through paying those fees on eBay are probably not too dissimilar to what you might probably lose at model shop. I don't know, but it's up to you to make your mind up. But just bear that in mind that, at least when you sell stuff to a model shop, you're not going to have any of those hidden costs of paying those fees. So I think that concludes the end of this video, and I hope you found it interesting. And as always, if you've got any comments, please feel free to comment down below. And also, if you want to share your experiences, on the comments, then please do. Like I said, I've had a real mixture of experiences with buying and selling stuff, and believe me, I've bought and sold a lot of secondhand stuff, whether it's clothes, whether it's model railway stuff, whether it's my wigs or anything like that. To me, it's like, I've had plenty of experience to know that ideally, especially in the model railway sense, that I don't want to get my fingers burnt anymore, and I'd rather avoid it if I can, just minimise the risks. So to me, the easiest and simplest solution is, I'll take the hit, probably going to a model shop and getting slightly less. But if you trade it in, then maybe you're trading it in for stuff that you actually do want, and actually stuff that you're actually going to use and run, rather than have stuff sitting around in boxes and stuff like that. So anyway, my name's Susanna, and I live with trains, and goodbye until the next instalment, which, like I said, will probably be the foam board build number 2 for Susanna's Can Build With Me, because I do have a layout update for you, but I'm still waiting for parts. So until the next time, it's bye from me. Bye bye.